Hello beautiful people, happy Sunday and welcome to your practical application of astrology. So we are officially in Cancer season, of course, and we experienced the Capricorn Full Moon number 1, Friday night, Saturday early morning, depending where you are in the world. Of course, many of us might be aware there will be one more Capricorn Full Moon yet to come next month at the end of Cancer season. So this Cancer season for sure will be very interesting, and even from the channeled message that I have to share, things definitely are happening, whether we are aware of it or not, whether we can see it manifested in our reality or not, but things are definitely happening. And yeah, I came here to share some stuff and pull some cards and read some automatic writing for you. But before I get any further, I just wanted to let everybody know, in case that you haven't watched my astrological forecast, I am running a 25% off seasonal sale of all my services except for my new service, which is the one-on-one private mentoring, tutoring. So except for that, all my services are currently discounted 25% off. So you can find all the details on my website if you are interested to book, and perhaps this might be a good time, because with this Cancer season it's all about restructuring your inner landscape, and this is something that I am definitely experiencing myself in my little reality over here in Bansko, Bulgaria. And actually I'm almost halfway through. Tomorrow is literally my midpoint of my stay here. Unfortunately, the time is passing very quickly, but then again, who knows, perhaps there are even more exciting horizons to be explored in England. Never say never, right? Anyway, as we all know, this week, of course, we had the squares to Neptune and Venus, Mercury conjuncted, and then everything moved into the sign of Cancer. And as I already mentioned, we already had the full moon in Capricorn. And at the moment, we are integrating the first square from Cancer to the Lunar Nodes. Mercury just squared the Lunar Nodes last night, and this time everything has shifted because the resolution node is the North Node in Aries, which is all about this new direction. So on the day of the solstice, actually, I got unexpected virus or something. Like for one day I was just very, very sick. Like I could barely get out of the bed. I could barely even stand up. Even just that was an effort. It was very weird because I woke up that way and I went to sleep feeling that way, and I woke up the next morning and I was perfectly fine. Also going to sleep the night before, I was perfectly fine. So for me personally, the solstice was very interesting because whatever was going on in my body, whatever my body was recalibrating to or detoxing from, it definitely kept me put in a bed all day, just listening to meditation after meditation and just checking out for most of the day. But like I said, I woke up the next day and I was feeling perfectly fine, like the day before never happened. And as I might have mentioned previously, I came here to actually, once again, as last year, experience the Digital Nomad Festival that is happening here every year, and it's happening now. It's starting officially. There is an opening ceremony tonight. So as of tomorrow, there will be all the lectures and everything ongoing. So this is something that I will be interacting with in this upcoming week, and see what kind of stuff is gonna come up with these interactions, because as we know, as I already mentioned, Mercury is squaring the nodes, but also Venus is going to square the nodes, and later on the Sun is going to square the nodes. And if you have watched my astrological forecast, Saturn is just about to station retrograde next weekend. So this is again going to take us more inwards to process all these situations, experiences, interactions with people from the external environment. It's going to take us inward to use this, which we accumulated from the external environment, this information, to help us to reshape this inner landscape, our inner world, to detach from these labels and versions of ourselves that are no longer resonated with us, that are not feeling exciting enough to be dragging for us to be dragging with us into the next chapters that we will be experiencing going forward. And as I was sharing in my last video, with regards to my current situation, I have no answers. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know where I'm going to be even. Well, I mean, the plan is, of course, to go to England because I need to be out of Europe for 90 days. So I'm going to go to England for at least 90 days, but whether I will stay longer or not, I do not know yet. And whatever is going to transpire in there, I'm sure it's going to give a further guidance. So this is where, once again, another time in my life, I am being invited and, in a sense, pushed, ready or not, to completely surrender and trust the universe, just as I had done many times in my life. But the most profound experience with this was, of course, in 2022, when I decided to leave England after living there for 19 years and go to Mexico and live as a digital nomad ever since. And even that label somehow now is not quite fitting, not in the same way anyway. So it's interesting where I am being invited, for me personally, to backtrack, to go backwards and to retrieve certain, I guess, things and aspects of myself that need to be retrieved. So with regards to how this astrology currently is impacting me and like affecting my life, as I already mentioned, there are not so many things happening. I already said that last week. There are not so many things happening on the external level. Well, obviously I might be saying something different next week after this digital festival. It's a digital nomad festival, so it's actually not digital, it's in person, but it's for people who are digital nomads and interested in this kind of lifestyle of just having the whole world to be their home and the world to be their oyster, which of course I fully resonate with. It's something that I've always been drawn towards with my Jupiter in the first house, Aquarius. But at the same time, I do have a moon in Cancer. And I am going to have Sun conjunct in my moon, and actually the upcoming new moon in Cancer is going to be still conjunct in my moon. So I would like to have a home as well, not just moving around the globe, packing, repacking, and living out of suitcase, but actually having both. And people might think like, well, that's not possible, like you can either have one or the other. You can have a home and then you can go for vacations a couple of times a year. You cannot have both. But I think all this can or cannot, or what is and isn't possible, this is something that I personally am being challenged in my own reality. And the card pulls that I did for myself for the full moon in Capricorn, where I pulled a card that said that I need to change my perception. I need to change my perception, my perspective of looking at reality. So I think we really, especially with this Jupiter being in a sign of Gemini and now Mercury being in a sign of Cancer, we are being invited to really dig deep and realize and recognize who we really are and what actually is possible for us, rather than be stifled and restricted by the stories, by the limited beliefs that we were being passed onto, and then keep retelling ourselves about what is and isn't possible. Actually, what is possible? Like people say, oh, everything is possible, but who actually believes that? It's easy to say that, but how many of us actually fully believe that, like really feel that in our heart that, oh yeah, everything is possible, whatever you want, it's all possible. Most of us will go like, oh yeah, it's possible for that person, or easy for you to say, but it's not possible for me, or something like that. So I feel this is different aspect of this energy that we are interacting with currently, especially with this Capricorn full moon number 1 being squared by Neptune, but Jupiter and Pluto still had a trine, right? So this square from Neptune, and Neptune being in Pisces, and of course Neptune is also just about to station retrograde shortly on July 2nd, so that's gonna go all inwards as well. So with all these energies, and now the square to the lunar nodes, but pointing to the North Node as a resolution node, and Mars as the ruler being in the sign of Taurus, it's all taking us inwards. And it's saying like, well, it's time to expand, it's time to expand, because this Jupiter-Uranus conjunction on April 20th, 21st, depending where you are in the world, it changed everything. It changed everything because Jupiter is the perception of reality. It is the story. It is the belief systems on which our reality operates and runs, and whatever we believe we find the proof for, you know. So with Jupiter now being in a sign of Gemini, we have the opportunity to choose whatever we want to believe, you know. It, like I said in my last video, it doesn't matter if anybody else believes it. It doesn't matter whether anybody else thinks that you're making it up. It doesn't matter, because we are all making everything up. You know, I mean, this is our creation, this reality, you know. This life on planet Earth is our construct. We made it up. You know, we all created it. So it literally is like, okay, if I created this, what else can I create? You know, what else can I experience? So as I think shared in my last practical application, I'm coming to my Pluto square, Neptune square. It is not exact until next year. Actually, the Neptune square might not be until 2026. But this full moon in Capricorn actually conjunct my Neptune. My Neptune is in a perfect exact sextile with Pluto. But I really think, I didn't check, but I really think, yeah, because here is an astrologer who checks everybody else's astrology except for my own. I mean, I know roughly what's happening, but I don't have the exact dates of like, oh yeah, it's happening exactly on this day. But I know for sure that my Pluto square, Pluto exact is happening in March around the eclipses. So that I know. that is happening. But yeah, this Neptune square, I don't have the exact date in my mind, but I have a feeling it's 2026 when Pluto is done with me. The Pluto squares are done, you know, all 3 of them or 4 of them or however many I will have. Yeah, probably I should just check for myself and just write it somewhere. But you see, this is the thing. I don't even want my astrology to be controlling my life. Like, I know it's happening, you know, and I can feel it. And of course, depending on, you know, how we choose to interact with that energy, that's how it's going to manifest. I know, like from my personal experience of what I'm experiencing right now, that my reality, as I knew it, it's been taken apart, and so is my identity, that I am being invited and encouraged to let go of all these old labels, let go of all these stories and go beyond, go further, because with this Aquarius rising over here and Jupiter in the first house and Sagittarius ruling my midheaven and Uranus conjuncting it in the 10th house, this is what I came here to do. I came here to break out of all of this, you know, with everything being retrograde as well. Yeah, but in order to do that, it all sounds so easy, you know. It all sounds like, oh yeah, that sounds great, you know, breaking out of matrix or whatever. But we need the matrix, of course, like right now anyway, because it's what's keeping us grounded, right? You know, like I said, you know, if everything would just blow up tomorrow, then yeah, you know, like there would be so much chaos that I would even survive. So it all sounds like a great idea, all these potentials that we all have living in our chart, but it's all a step-by-step process. It's not going to happen tomorrow. Maybe it's not even going to happen next year or the year after, but it is a potential and it is going to happen, and it already exists somewhere in some timeline. So it's just a matter of us to merge ourselves with that vision, with that identity, with that timeline which we want to experience. But here comes is it possible? Or, well, maybe it's not possible for me. What is possible, right? So this is where this Capricorn full moon that we just had on 1 degree, 1 degree, you know, the beginning, even though it is a full moon, which is an illumination, the midpoint. And the next one will be on 29 degrees. So what are we going to learn? And this is a question I'm also asking myself. What are we going to learn about ourselves throughout this Cancer season, right? Because Cancer is all about your inner world. It's all about your intuition. It's all about, yes, the ancestor line, but everything that ever happened lives within you, lives within me, lives within all of us. So based off all of this that we already know, what out of this is actually still serving us and supporting us, and what out of this we want to take with us into the future. And if really somebody said that everything is possible, just like, you know, when people are writing books or when people are creating movies or creating computer games, everything is possible. Like, they are the creators, they can put whatever they want in it, and that's us. That's really us, you know, like literally that is our lives. But we just weren't being taught to operate in this way. Like, I mean, maybe some people were, I mean, majority of us for sure weren't, because there are all these rules and restrictions and labels and stories that have been passed on and said that this is how we operate over here. This is what is and isn't possible. And, you know, like, just stay within the lines, stay within the boundaries of this reality, right? But this is not going to work anymore, because, like I keep reminding every video, this Saturn is the structure of the reality that we just had a full moon ruled by Saturn, and Saturn is in Pisces. It is not going to hold. So if we really know that, okay, this game or this movie is going to, you know, end, or this book needs to be rewritten, or this game needs to be updated or something, and you can put all this new thing into it, you know, you can decide what do you want that to be, right? What do we want there to be? You know, what do we want to experience? And this is where all this, you know, fear comes up, and these limited belief systems and all this trauma and all this wounding, it all comes up to the surface. You know, like as I mentioned in my astrological forecast, we will have all these squares to Chiron, you know, throughout everybody transiting through Cancer. It's going to square Chiron in Aries, starting with Mercury, of course. Which I believe is happening next week. So all these wounds of the past are going to come to the surface to try to keep us protected, to try to keep us safe, and say like, oh no, this is not possible. You know, we're not going that way. We need to stay here. We need to stay in a comfort zone, because as we know, the ego wants to survive. It wants to survive. It will try to protect itself because it needs to survive. It wants to be in charge. It wants to feel in control. And it's not a bad thing, you know. This is like, again, where we have this love-hate relationship with ego, because we go like, oh, death of ego, and the ego should just die, and ego is bad. Ego is not bad, you know. It's just literally, it's like a puppy, you know. You get a puppy, you need to train it, right? Like, you know, if you don't train the puppy, it's gonna go and run rampant around the house. It's the same like children, you know. Even though my sister hates when I use the same example together, like, my kid is not a dog, okay? Like, but you know what I mean. You know, there has to be a certain level of training, but I'm trying to choose my wording correctly or wisely, because of course we don't want to train the kids to again fall into the trap of a matrix. But at the same time, when a child is small, it needs guidance. It's not about like, yeah, we need to change it into being something different, but it needs guidance, right? There are certain things that, you know, they need to learn in order to operate in matrix, right? Without us imposing too much on their authentic essence and trying to trying to make them to lose their sense of authenticity, right? But in a sense, you know, ego is kind of like this something that needs to be trained, and needs to be kind of guided in a sense. And what guides it, if we allow it, is this higher self. So, you know, currently, especially with these upcoming squares to Chiron, there will be a lot of that coming up. Very likely for all of us, which will be making us, you know, feel torn and challenged, because it's like, okay, you know, I have grown this identity, I have grown this experience, you know, I don't wish to have this experience on copy paste for the next 10, 20 years of my life, you know, whatever that is, you know, whatever, relationships, jobs, you know, finances, whatever, you know, these things that create our matrix reality, right? So, you know, so I want different experience. I want this to change, right? But then it's gonna come all these reasons why it cannot change. You know, all these buts, but it is not possible, or it cannot happen for me, or I don't have the time, or I don't have the qualification, or whatever it is. You know, it's all this is gonna come up, right? Because it needs to be looked at, because the program has to be changed. And it's like, okay, how are we going to change the program? Well, we need to first find out, like, well, what created it, and what is the purpose of it? You know, what role is it playing? What is it trying to protect, right? So with this Cancer season and this feeling of emotion and intuitive knowing, and reconnecting with our inner guidance. Like it will be this war. I don't want to use that word, but it will be this challenge between like, do I listen to my to my feelings, to my intuition, to my gut, you know, or do I listen to this voice in my head, to these old stories, to this wounded child, to this wounded voice that say like, that is not safe, and it's not gonna help you, you're not gonna survive. But as we know, Saturn is in Pisces. So we know that things have to change. We know that the way, you know, the world is, the life is, our reality operates at the moment. There are things that needs to change. To whichever degree and to, you know, to be in whichever area that you know, that is unique to individuals. And then us as individuals create collective, and at some point all of this, you know, that we are experiencing at the moment will be decentralized, because that's what Aquarius is about. The age of Aquarius is about decentralization. There is not gonna be this one experience for everyone, and this is what the source is desiring now. It's the Pluto in Aquarius. It's not about this like we're going to have this one experience as the whole world, right? Like everybody's gonna be going through the same experience, because in sense, like, yeah, we have countries that are like considered as first world countries, and then we have countries which are considered second world or third world countries or whatever. And whatever is the label, and wherever these countries are, we can see similarities. Like, oh, okay, you know, life is very similar in US, Canada, UK, whatever. And then life is very similar in whatever African countries, certain Asian countries and stuff like that. But it's not going to be like that anymore. There's not going to be like, oh yeah, this one label fits all or something, because it's about decentralization. And Jupiter is Gemini. Jupiter is in Gemini, still making a trine to Pluto. Pluto is retrograde. And this is saying that we are tapping into all these multiple different timelines, because many people, the more we go through this process of awakening, and Pluto being in Aquarius, especially, you know, in the later time of the year when it moves there for good, for the good next 20 years, more and more people will start questioning everything and deciding for themselves that this is not the life I want to have going forward. And then whatever is going to happen on an external level, collective level, global level, because, you know, the people in charge at the moment, they also have a role to play. Everybody's got a role to play. Everybody's fulfilling their contract. There are going to be situations, circumstances, whatever is going to be happening, you know, that we all agree to on a soul level, that we want to experience, to help us, to help us wake up, to help us move into this new frequency, into this new direction, into this new, you know, evolutionary trajectory that we need to step into. Like, there is no choice. Like, in this case, there is no choice. Like, we know we need to shift into this new, because otherwise we'll be left, not like left behind, but it's hard to articulate. Like, if we are no longer with resonance with what is, then it will cease to exist. You know, the experience will cease to exist. There has to be a connection, right? So in order for us to experience this world that we are co-creating at the moment, we need to adjust to the rules of that new world. But actually, that new world is not going to be linear, and it's not going to be one thing for everyone, and everybody's going to be experiencing it differently. Therefore, you decide what is the world that you want to be experienced, what are the rules and stuff. But in order for us to choose the highest possible timeline and the best experience for ourselves, we need to heal this voice, you know, not even inner voice, the you know, the voice in our head that is preventing us from stepping into this potential, from reaching these highest timelines. Because if we keep recreating the same situation and, you know, hands up over here, you know, that's definitely my case, even though, you know, there are certain situations which are not appearing in my life, not with the same frequency or the same impact, but there are still certain situations that are coming around. And even me speaking to my friend and having the opportunity to be able to talk it out and saying like, I can't believe it, you know, I'm in the same place I was last year, or, you know, same place I was whenever, having to make the same decisions and stuff like that. But it's never the same. It's never the same. And this is even like what my favorite that I keep mentioning all the time, Lee Harris, said in one of his live podcast when he said that we might feel that why do I keep constantly attracting the same thing, the same people, the same circumstances, the same, how can I break free from this, continuous stuff, this continuous like a wheel of suffering or whatever. But even he said that, well, there are things for him personally which, like he doesn't experience so much or, in the same intensity anymore. Maybe they turn up once in a while, but he knows exactly how to deal with them, what it means. He's already learned that lesson. But there are things that he still is struggling with or working or something, just like all of us. And this is why it's so important, to see even these people that, we look up to or we learn from, also as humans that are actually on the same, well, not, necessarily experiencing the same mission or, having the same, path or destiny on these planets, but they also human, which means hero's journey. In this case we are all in the same boat. We all experience in hero's journey, so we all have these things that are the big lessons in our life, the ones that will take us maybe a lifetimes, not even one lifetime, lifetimes to resolve. So this is why even for me personally, and having to listen to myself here, we need to have a compassion and forgiveness, for ourselves, where we do find ourselves in a similar or the same situation, struggling with the same thing, and we just want to chastised and judge ourselves because, like, how could I have come to this point again? Like, what have I done wrong and stuff? But it is never the same. Even for me, like when I was still on this wheel of attracting all these, all these physical men in my life, which were like continuously unavailable and stuff. And I'm not saying it's not happening now, but at least, I deal with it much faster. I can see it much clearer. And, it's like, okay, not interesting, thank you. But, before I was like, why is this happening? And I would be stuck in that situation for months on no end. And this is the thing, I can see the difference now. Like, okay, yeah, I recognize it faster. I can deal with it faster. I maybe feel sorry for myself for one day, but then I snap out of it and, and I'm like, okay, I understand what's going on here. So what might be the situation that is showing up for you, or like there's something showing up for everyone, obviously, because Pluto is retrograde. And even more so when Saturn and Neptune goes retrograde, because it will be pushing us to this letting go and releasing point. So what it is that showing us for us that we feel like I am forever, like, am I cursed? Why am I stuck in this? Why am I not being able to break free out of this? But if we are really honest with ourselves and pay close attention, we recognize that, but it is not the same. It is not the same because you are not the same person. It is not exactly the same situation, and you for sure respond to it differently, even if they are just small adjustments, but it's not the same. And this is, and also maybe, the impact of it is not the same, and the level of suffering is not the same, and the time it takes for us to, get on the other side of it is not the same, so this is how we learn. This is like literally, as we can just see, like the world, things are coming around all the time, the same issues, with regards to people, the same struggles, it's just coming around lifetime after lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. And now is the time to let it all go. To let it go, to break out of this pattern, to free ourselves from this karma, to say, oh yeah, I understand, I've learned this lesson, I don't know what is the alternative. Because you see, the thing that just popped into my head, that sometimes we are addicted to our suffering. This is something that a former friend of mine once said to me, where, especially when I was younger and I was working on a cruise ship, and, this is also a story that I still will tell myself now, why I attract people, and men are interested in me that I'm not interested, no thank you. And then the men I'm interested in are unavailable, or they're not interested, they're not interested or they're completely unavailable. So it's like there is never a match, there is never a match. It's either somebody interested, I'm not interested, or I'm interested, that the other person not interested or not available, right? And she said to me that, well, because you are, attracted to the suffering, because many of us were being from conditioning, program, observation of our parents' relationships, or just look at the relationships in the media, right? You know, when you just stand on the television and see which one of these relationships are functional, most of them are dysfunctional and toxic. We think that's normal, right? So maybe if we come across someone who doesn't act that way, we straight away go like, oh, something wrong here. You know, something wrong here. I don't suffer, you know, or something, you know. So there is not the same level of suffering. So we just go, we don't recognize it, you know, like, oh, I don't recognize it because I don't feel the same trigger, or I don't feel the wounding coming up, or this toxicity or something, you know, which... again, you know, we keep attracting these people because we want to resolve this. We want to resolve it. We want to break out of that pattern. But that was quite interesting for me. And it happened a long time ago. And I still need to remind myself that sometime when, you know, I again encountered this story that I kept telling myself, and I still keep telling myself sometimes now, that okay, you know, why do I not like this person? Because they treat me nicer, because I don't suffer, because you know, they don't make me feel like I'm you know, they're unavailable or something. You know, so anyway, I'm just like digging myself into a hole here, but just trying to like you know, find some analogy to explain how we need to see these things. We need to really experience these things that are preventing us from finding some alternative experience, right? Because we might not even, if we see the alternative experience and we are not a frequency much, you know, like in resonance with that, we won't even recognize it, we won't even see it, because we are looking for that suffering. We are looking for that known feeling that, oh yeah, this guy is a bad guy. Oh yeah, I remember that. You know, I remember this experience. Okay, yeah, this is the guy I need to attract because I need to heal this as part of myself that feels that I deserve to be treated this way or something, you know. So anyway, I don't even know how did I get to this point. I was not going to talk, I didn't have a plan to talk about any of this. But anyway, I guess there is a reason why I was brought to this in this direction. But the bottom line is, for me personally right now, except for all this relational story, which, you know, are not kind of relevant for, like in a human tangible sense for me right now, because there are no, you know, there are no I don't even know how to say it. There are no real people in my life as such, apart from this digital nomad festival. So let's see, you know, I'll be interacting with humans for change for a week. So anyway, you know, what I was trying to say, you know, apart from all these things that might be coming up for us for healing, I am in a place of not making any decisions right now because I don't feel that it's the right time. I don't feel I have all the pieces of the puzzle. I don't feel I'm going to be the same person 1 month, 2 months, 3 months from now, which of course none of us is going to be, but you know, I don't feel that I'll be identifying myself from the same point of view I do now, which is why making any decision from this place would be kind of counterproductive, because you know, the decision might not be in resonance with the version of myself I will be experiencing and interacting with, perhaps, you know, after the summer, or if you are southern hemisphere, after the winter. So anyway, you know, just blabbing again here. Again, don't know even if this makes sense, but I'm just trying to I'm just trying to explain, or I don't know even if explaining is the right word, how this Cancer season, because you see, this is the thing, I can't even articulate how I feel or what feelings are stirring inside me, because Mercury is in Cancer, you know, like it's not about, you know, how do we say these things? It's about, okay, how does it make me feel? Okay, does it resonate with me? Okay, you know, there is a feeling inside me that I cannot quite identify at the moment, but I think I just need to feel into this. I need to kind of stay with this. I need to let it cook in, nourish it, you know, like just like when the baby is still in a womb, you know, it's not ready to come out yet, okay? It needs more nourishment. It needs to be grown, you know, a little bit bigger until it's safe for it to come out there into the world. That's how I feel. That's why I feel I'm even struggling here to express it in a way that would make logical sense, because this is not about logic. It's not logical. It's about incubation. Yeah, it's incubated. The whole process is in a, you know, it's the process of incubation. So this is where I feel at. And as we just had a full moon, we know that now moon is waning, right? So we are then heading towards the new moon. So the moon is slowly but surely going to be losing light. So there will be less and less clarity. And then we have a new moon in Cancer, which is the rebirth, right? A seeding of a new sense of you. And we might remember that the last new moon in Cancer, July 17th, 2023, was the day when the nodes moved into Aries and Libra, right? Actually, during the moon they were still on like 0 degrees and 1 minute of Taurus, I believe, and Scorpio. So yeah, so this is where we at. Everything is changing, shifting, restructuring, being redefined. And if you, like I said last time, I think, if you feel lost and confused and you don't know who you are and you don't know where you're going and what all of this means, don't worry, you're not alone, and like I said, that sometimes, like Dr. Joe Dispenza say, being no one, nowhere, in no time, and know nothing, it's a good starting place, because from that everything is possible, right? No limitations of the past, so no recreation of the same story and attracting the same thing and pattern and stuff, and like, no, all of these now has to end. It has to end. Like, how many more centuries or thousands of years do we want to keep recreating the same suffering? Like, I am done with that. Like, I even said, like, I am not coming back to Earth. But then I'm thinking, ooh, but if it's gonna be different, if it's gonna be this golden age and very different experience, on planet Earth, this heaven on Earth, all these things that people are talking about, then yeah, I'll sign up for that. I'll sign up for that. But the way the Earth is right now, like, no, I'm not coming back. Not to this one, no. So yeah, but somebody has to be the one to create it. It's not just gonna happen of its own. We need to clear up the mess. We need to clear up the mess, the manifestation of the past, and then we can see the future. So anyway, I'll leave it at that, because I'm just losing myself in my own narratives. So let's just read the message. So I was trying to be expansive today, and I said what my spirit guides and angelic team want me to share today. So this is what I got. Persevere on your path of destiny and soul's journey towards growth and expansion. Everything that's happening in your life and the life of others around you, including the collective as whole, is happening for you. It's happening exactly as it needed for the growth and expansion to take place. You don't have to like it. You don't have to agree with it. Sometimes you don't even have to enjoy it. But trust that this is the way forward, that this is the path to something much more magical that you have ever experienced. The boundaries that kept your reality feeling solid and unpenetrable are dissolving. It's time to change the borderlines. It's time to reconstruct and, if needed, deconstruct the current foundations of your lives. What served you in the past is not going to support you going forward. This is the time of a great dismantling of your world and of your reality. Everything is happening in accordance to the plan, your soul's plan, the plan you chose with your free will and agreed to follow and accomplish. Of course, everything is in a constant state of change and flow, but energetically there is a plan, there is a kind of destination, even though it's not a final one, like you humans like to perceive and plan things. There's no final destination, because everything will keep moving forward and evolution will continue. However, there is a destination you are all heading towards, even though it's not going to be the same for everyone. As we keep reminding you, you will decide which timeline you will be interacting with. Although there are multiple timelines and they are also constantly changing and evolving. Nothing is really linear and put simply in the box as you are used to doing. It's not your fault. It's the way you were taught and programmed to operate on Earth. That's why the reality is being dismantled as we speak. Nothing is as clear and black and white as it was before. Things will become even more hazy and more unclear, and that's not a bad thing. It's a good starting point because the clarity will also appear differently to different people. Welcome to your multidimensionality. Don't fight the changes, embrace them. The ride will be so much smoother and comfortable for you if you do. Focus on your own inner landscape and reshape it the way that will support you the most. Decide for yourself whatever that means to you. This year, everyone will be invited and initiated to step into the role of their own emperor. The Capricorn lunations are supporting you in this process. So take care of yourselves and learn to understand what this means to you. Nobody else has the answer. Nobody else can tell you how to live your life that would give you the sense of fulfillment and joy. Only you know. So ask yourself. This is the season of disconnection and reconnection. Feeling into life in a new way, making decisions from a new place, perceiving reality from a different angle. It's all happening. The old is making a space for the new. The balancing act is in place. The change is activated and in full actualization. It's not going to be easy, but it doesn't have to be so difficult. Your level of resistance will determine which way you'll be experiencing it. It's time to surrender to the flow of life, answer the call of your heart, reconnect with your soul, and you will be on the right path to fulfilling your destiny. All the answers are already encoded within you. All the navigations are set in your internal compass. Tune in and listen. What is your soul trying to tell you today? Watch out for synchronicities, serendipities, and magic that's happening all around you all of the time. Do you ever notice? Do you make time to stop and pay attention? Don't allow the distractions of the game to derail you from your path. Only you know what anything means. You put those signs onto your path. Remember who you are. Remember who you came here to be and what you came here to offer to the world. You are a unique expression of the source, and thus your mission on earth is unique to you. When you find yourself, you'll find answers to everything. And we are always here to support you. Call on us, beloved. We love you unconditionally, always. Okay, here we go. Let's pull some cards. I have quite a few. And I have some shamanistic earth theme going on here. So we're gonna start with the sacred, divine animals. Sorry, not sacred, divine. Divine animals oracle. Okay, let's tune into our animal spirit guides. Okay. What spirit animal wants to support us at this time? Please, spirit. This is from Stacey DeMarco, the one that we always pull the oracles for lunation. Okay, we have Jackal, number 44. Number 44, 4 is Saturn, 44, master number frequency, which comes to number 8. We are in the year number 8. Okay, well, I will be honest, I don't know anything about Jackal, but we can see that there is a skeleton on his little, stick, and he has his face hiding, but the body seems strong, and there is all this multiverse behind him. And at the bottom of the deck, we have fruit bat, flying fox. I experienced a lot of those when I was in Australia. Upside down. This to me feels like hangman, change of perspective. And obviously these, they fly high and they are nocturnal, aren't they, right? See in the dark, see what we can't see. And it says kindness. And this one is the truth. Jackal is the truth. This is the kind. Okay, let's read what it says. It's interesting. This looks like there's a lot of water, and it looks like they are in a like an oyster shell, right? This is all about feminine energy. So it feels to me like really like the divine feminine and divine masculine, right? Very masculine energy here, very feminine energy. And this is a number 12, which is the number 3. And it is the number 12, hangman, right? In a tarot, number 12, upside down. And yeah, the world is upside down. So actually we think that now things are going upside down, but actually they're going to the right place. Right? So anyway, so yeah, even when I see people's charts and they have solar return with Libra rising, which is what I have next year. For next year, this year for me is Leo rising. I say that your world is gonna be turned upside down, but actually, is it? Is it? You know, or is it turned the right way? Right? Because we came here to learn about ourselves through the other, and the other is learning about themselves through us. So which way is it? Whichever way we decide, right? Okay, let's start with this jackal, because I really don't know, you know, what I can tell you about it. So I'm just going to refer to the guidebook. But it is the number 44, which is a mass number frequency. 4 is Saturn, and 44 is 8, which is also Saturn and Jupiter. And then 12 is number 3, which is also Jupiter. So, okay. Jackal. Truth. Authenticity is important. Live your truth fearlessly. Someone around you is not telling you the truth. Do not fear what you cannot control. We will all leave a legacy, so you should consider what this might be for you. Death is part of life. So it's interesting because when I was doing the astrological forecast, if you watched it, there was the card of deception. And this is something that also came up through different readings, you know, deception or like this being deceived by someone else. But also we could be the one deceiving ourselves. So we will all leave a legacy. So you should consider what this might be for you. Death is part of life. This really, I feel, is the death of ego. Like not death in a way that, oh, we're just getting rid of it for good, you know, but it's more like a balancing act between the ego self and the higher self. So, you know, the ego is kind of being put on a back seat rather than the driver's seat. So it might think it died, but actually it is needed and it is present, but we don't want it to be in charge anymore to control our life. So this is what I feel like with this, especially coming up to this new moon in Cancer next. This is what I feel will be seeded, you know, this new sense of identity where the soul is present. And that is part of life, because we all continuously dying and being reborn, you know, our cells, our organs, you know, everything is continuously being reborn, right? And then there is a mythology. The majestic jackal-headed god Anubis stands next to Embalmer. Yeah, so this is kind of like Pluto then. He guides the embalmer's hand so they perform the correct actions and listens in satisfaction as the proper incantations are made. Infinitely gentle, Anubis takes great care of the tender new souls who have passed on to the next world, the afterlife. He travels with them, reassuring them, making them comfortable upon this surprising journey and making them to the goddess Mat, she who is law. It is she who will weigh their souls against the lightness of a feather. Oh, this is the Egyptian mythology, yes. And it is she who will determine whether these souls will live forever. Anubis will record this in a great book of the dead. To our eyes, Anubis looks fearsome, but this is not the truth. Jackals did move among the graveyards and clear the dead, but this jackal hopes that the person has lived a truthful and good life, so they get to experience the afterlife. The alternative is that they get eaten by Amut, the devourer of souls. When the cult of the god Osiris grew stronger in the later Middle Kingdom, Osiris took over many of Anubis' job as caretaker and protector of the dead. Therefore, Anubis myth became more focused on specific embalming methods and mummification processes. The care and effectiveness in which the mummification process was enacted is still a marvel today. The priests of the funerary rites would place a sacred mask of Anubis upon their faces when conducting the mummification, and thus the dead person became the god himself. The animal, there are 3 species of jackal. Jackal have large territories and there's animals. Mortality for jackals is high, and to protect her babies, jackal mother will often move her pups to a new den every few weeks. This is about flexibility, right? So sometimes it is bloom where you plant it, but sometimes the time has come to perhaps be planted somewhere different if you're, and this doesn't have to be literal, even though for me it probably will be because I always travel somewhere. But yeah, it's just like there is something that's eluding me here because it's very Neptunian. But I really feel like this is where it literally is this complete restructuring behind the veil, which we are experiencing, not intangible yet, but we will be experiencing in intangible. And like I said last time, which is again teaching of Dr. Joe Dispenza, when you change, everything around you changes, and the world has to change. It cannot remain the same, therefore we have to change with it. Just like I said, we have to be frequential match to that which is being created, otherwise there will not be frequential match, right? The magic. Sometimes we need a big dose of truth in our lives, which is where jackal energy is a positive force. Even when finding out the truth of a situation means pain, it is better to know the truth, and jackal energy can be a comfort. Also, call upon this energy when you or others are affected by death. Allow yourself to know that the person who has died has a soul that is being carefully protected and watched over. All jackals are listed as of least concern. Okay, we have plenty of those. And that was actually the last card of the deck. Yeah, it's the death and rebirth. This is what we experience in all of us. Whether that is in a physical form, I think it's more energetical, to be honest, even though for sure there will be souls passing, in 20 years there are souls passing all the time, to make space again for these new souls to be incarnate, to be able to embody a physical body. But that's a cycle of life, and there is this big shift. I can just feel it. It's like a change of guards, like everything is changing, and we either can choose to go with it or not, and then somebody else will come, right? Or somebody else will take on the role. Like, we all decide for ourselves whatever this means for us going forward. So anyway, there is much more to this card that is hiding behind the veil. And then we had the number 12 at the bottom of the deck, which is the fruit bat, the one that I experienced in Australia. Okay, fruit bat, flying fox, this lady being nice to this bat that is kind of like a hangman. Change of perspective. Choose kindness, which isn't always the easy way. Kindness will always be repaid. Consider others in your decisions, especially those with less power than you. Repay your debts. Spread the seeds of goodwill and your fortunes will grow. Okay, and then there is the mythos again. But, we're not going to be reading all of that because I have some other texts I want to pull. The magic. Fruit bats are a vital part of the ecosystem, ensuring seeds are spread and fertility on the land is secure. The energy here is one of fertility and plentifulness. Invite flying fox energy into your workings when you wish to invoke more kindness and fertility. Okay, so I feel what I skimmed very quickly through the text. There is a process of death and rebirth happening, and this to me is also invoking again the gratitude, being grateful for everything, to see things from the higher perspective, see things upside down, and in order to attract more of the good and attract the reality we want to experience, we need to again give thanks for everything that took place before it, because everything is happening for a purpose and a meaning, right? So with this fertility and, you know, giving kindness, which is again that paying into the bank of the universe, you know, with the gratitude, the seeds are being spread. We are planting seeds for the future by being grateful for what we have, and, you know, planting the seeds for, you know, or creating a space for more to come in. But in order for that to take place, we need to acknowledge and be grateful for what is. And not all of it is always good or looks good or feels good. Because, I mean, how many people like see buds as pets, right? And we don't know how, you know, how, like, and there is a boat, interesting, there is a boat in the distance here, you know, like going on our travels. So in order for us to get from, and there is all this fruit, you know, the harvest, the fruition, for us to get from where we are to where we want to go, we need to be looking at things differently and be grateful for everything. And that's what brings the flood of potential then. So I feel in this case, it's also like humanity, you know, it's just we, you know, majority of us, including myself, taking a lot of things for granted, and we don't respect and appreciate the nature and the gifts that we were being given. And this again has to change, you know, everything has to change on this planet. Not with the planet itself, the planet is already up, you know, not up there, but the planet is already, it is sentient and awoken, and it's already, we are all divine, you know. This is again, like, I don't know how to articulate this. The planet is already 5D, you know, like, it's just, again, it's about the mismatch of the frequency. That's why there is so much chaos and so much conflict and so many things happening, because we are trying to balance the frequencies. There's too much mismatch. So anyway, let's move to next deck. Let's ask the Sacred Earth. I think that's a good carry on after this one. The Sacred Earth Oracle. Okay, the Mother Earth. What is the message from Mother Earth? Yeah, who would think, you know, fruit bats are so important? Okay, we have 2 cards. Oh, Alliance. We can see this woman with all these animals and butterflies. There is an owl, there is a hare, right? It's about, again, about fertility, owl, wisdom, and the butterflies, you know, rebirth of earth. That's what's happening. Rebirth, right? Death and rebirth. Understand what is it all for and what is happening, you know, at the same time as something unpleasant is happening. And perception. Perception. It's all about perception. How do we perceive the situation? With the human eyes, the human ego, or the higher self through the third eye, you know? And there is the Nautilus shell. I don't know if it's zooming out properly here, which is about the evolution. And he has the mudra. You know, he's making the hand gesture, the kriya. Okay, let's see what these 2 means. Alliance and perception. And what is the bottom? Heat. Oh, this looks like phoenix kind of, isn't that? Yeah, it looks like a phoenix rising. The tail, the wings of an angel, the tail of a phoenix, but it's actually a human. So we are experiencing a lot of heat, which I can confirm for sure. It's very hot in Bulgaria, and I know in many places it's like more hot, like super hot. So these are also the how Mother Earth is trying to not just express herself, but balance some of the energies. There is so much conflict and there is so much anger and heat within us, like within many people. And it's also showing up, of course, as within, so without. There is a lot of heat, a lot of boiling point. But then again, you know, we know from fire, we can burn the house or cook the dinner, right? So it's about how do we use this heat, you know, this heat is coming up. So anyway, we have a alliance, perception, and heat. Let's see how these three, what message they have, further message. Okay, let's go to the Alliance. Alliance, earthy meaning. Make the most of networking opportunities. Respond to pressure by reaching out to people in different levels of education, experience, or social standing. Be wary of pretension or selective equality. Again, this deception, right? A challenge brings people together, cohesive relationships, or a close-knit group. Building strength through structure and connection. Think in three dimensions, e.g. past, present, future. Inclusion. Connect with people both younger and older than you. Spiritual meaning. You are part of an amazing universe within and of creation. You are connected to and therefore have access to all of the colors of life canvas. Mortal body, immortal soul, living many lives in endless forms throughout existence. You are in every word, every leaf, and part of every star. You are the love that underpins the all. Bring this connection to consciousness. And then is the insight about diamonds being the hardest mineral. Diamond is the hardest natural mineral on inside. The diamond is the hardest natural mineral on our planet. Graphite is one of the softest. One is brilliant and represents perfection and love and adorns crowns. The other is dull and used in many everyday items, including pencils, brake linings, and batteries. Diamond is so hard it is added to cutting tools, while graphite, I don't know how to pronounce it, is so slippery it is used as lubricant. Diamonds refract light and can turn it into rainbows. Graphite absorbs light and is as black as night. Elementally, diamond and graphite are both pure carbon. They differ only in their structure. In graphite, the atoms bond in two-dimensional layers. In diamonds, the atom bond in three-dimensional lattice to make connections on all sides, not just to their neighbors on the same plane. Valency refers to an atom capacity for connection. Diamonds are so durable because they use the valency of carbon to its full potential. Carbon's ability to bond in complex ways makes it central to construction and thus to life on Earth. It is our connection that makes us strong. Our ability to make diverse and involved bonds is life affirming. So who are we connecting with to create this new Earth? Okay, perception. Are we seeing reality through the third eye or through the human eye? Perception. This one. Earthly meaning. Listen, observe, and better your chances. Rely on your direct experience. Do not be swayed by reputation, gossip, or a third-party account. Trust your perception and interpretations of situation. Be wary of gaslighting or of someone who undermines your sense of self and the world around you. Develop and hone your sensitivities. Spiritual meaning. Your senses are clouded by thoughts and emotions. Try to distance yourself from what others say. Detach emotionally, quiet your judgments, and clear your thoughts. Find a quiet place, preferably in nature, where you can relax and refresh your perception. Let your instinct guide you to a clear, unmistakable voice that comes not from your thought, but from your soul. So then it's about senses, We develop and hone our senses and we interact with our environment. If you pay attention, we can sense a sudden drop in temperature, sound, la 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 la. What else might we sense about the world if we could own our ability to perceive it? So that's what I mean. How are we perceiving the world? Is it just through the logical mind and what was, or is it through something that we need to learn to understand, the language of our soul? So this is the creating of the new Earth, ritually. It's about different relationships, different connections, understanding that, everything is made of the same thing. It's just bonded differently, and then the purpose of it is different. And how do we perceive it? And then at the bottom of the deck was the heat. This angel phoenix rising human. Heat. Okay. Okay. Earthly meaning. The elements are already there. A little heat will get things moving. Agitate for change. Instability brings existing insecurities or concealed issues to the surface. Make the most of disorder with new rules, new heights, and a new plan. Take a risk, shake things up, and see what happens. Don't confuse stability with stagnation. Movement is constant. Be sure to direct it. Spiritual meaning. Timeless wisdom, creativity, and love is present in every atom of your physical being. Beyond the theories, assumptions, and limitations of the manifested world lies a truer reality. Still your mind, focus on your heart center, and allow the wisdom of the ages to illuminate your thoughts, nurture your soul, and guide you to wholeness. Okay. There is always some movement, something happening, even if it's incrementally. If things aren't moving enough, turn up the heat. Okay, this is what I feel, that things definitely, there will be something that will happen that will get us moving towards this new, because of this and this, the imbalance in the world and the need for death and rebirth, death of the old and rebirth of the new. Okay, we're gonna ask the keepers of the light for the guidance. This is the different ascended masters. Let's see what guidance we get from this, because these are really deep messages which I feel that I'm quite not getting exactly what they're trying to say, but I feel the message is much bigger than what the card like shows. It really is about how we are co-creating this new earth here, and the process we need to go through in order for these new abilities to come online, new perceptions, starting to see things differently and starting to interact with the reality in a different way. Okay, the keepers of the light from Carl Gray. Okay. Wow, we have 3. Saint Germain, karma releasing, Sanat Kumara, light activation, and Serapis Bay, ascension. Wow, violet flame, forgiveness, karma releasing, move beyond drama, create your own path, make room for good energy. Sanat Kumara, light activation, shine your light, your internal guidance is coming through loud and clear. White, purity, starting from the scratch, and Serapis Bay, ascension, move into your true self, rise above the darkness, the light is here. Saying the same thing. And at the bottom is Duval Kul, Dharma unfolding, remember that you are on a path, take one step at a time to happiness. All the yellow, the self-actualization. Wow. Okay, let's see if I can get some faster way of interpreting this. I have another 2 decks, but I don't think I'll be able to use both, because fortunately, one is Alana Fairchild and she has super long descriptions, so I might not have to be able to, well, let's see. Okay, let's see, Saint Germain. I don't think these interpretations are too long, hopefully. Saint Germain, okay, here we go. Saint Germain, karma releasing, move beyond drama, create your own path, make room for good energy. Saint Germain, okay, we know he was born in 18th century. New identity. Oh, okay, this is interesting. Was born in France in the 18th century. He's said to have been given a new identity because he was the love child of 2 very powerful people. He was well educated and able to rub shoulders with royalty. He was also deeply interested in magic, alchemy, and the cosmos, and able to perform real-life miracles and turn lead into gold. Now he helps us move beyond social limitations to connect with the right people for the highest good. Wow, this is the same message as the other deck. He is still a master alchemist and able to help us turn whatever is leaden in our life into something that is golden. His twin flame, Lady Portia, and his twin flame is Lady Portia, and he is the keeper of the violet flame, the powerful etheric retreat where we can release karma. Extended message. Karma is a spiritual law of cause and effect. We experience many levels of karma. Some we inherit from our family and some from people we keep helping out of the problems they keep creating. Saint Germain is here to clear your energy so that you can no longer have the weight of the world or your loved ones' world on your shoulders. Beware that an old pattern is leaving your life and creating space for something more loving to enter. Visualize yourself surrounded by fiery violet cloak to release all the karma you no longer need. Wow. This is what I was saying during the, my long speech. But this is what I feel is happening. Sanat Kumara, light activation. Your internal guidance is coming through loud and clear. Sanat Kumara, which means eternal youth, is an advanced cosmic light being who is dedicated to helping the earth rise up towards the light. He is, as far as I'm concerned, the leader of the keepers of the light. He has been acknowledged as a god in Hinduism and in the Mahabharata story, which has come down from heaven bearing God's divine plan. In more recent times, he has been acknowledged as coming from Venus and bringing through unconditional love. He has eyes that are made of the cosmos and the ability to penetrate the soul and activate its brightest light, yet he can seem otherworldly because his looks are beyond human. He is being of the light, shining with the purest intentions. His twin flame he is the twin flame of Lady Venus. Together they activate the heart and light of those who become their help so they can shine brighter than ever. Extended message. You are here to light up the world. You might feel that you are being pushed or that there is a lot going on at once, and this is because your energy is magnetic to others and they want it in their life. Take the time to listen to your inner voice. Remember the cosmic light of heaven and draw it to you. That is all you need to do to inspire the world. Just be yourself, right? Release the karma and be yourself. Be the light you came here to be, to shine into the world. Okay, and then we had the Serapis Bay. Move into your true self, rise above the darkness, the light is here. Serapis Bey is the light keeper in charge of ascension. He once served as the priest in Luxor, Egypt, helping those passing on to cross over into the light. Now he is a presence we can call on in order to ascend. Ascension means rising up. It reminds us of the story of Christ being resurrected after death. This means that Serapis Bey can guide us from the lowest states of being back into the light. His energy is almost like the phoenix, giving us the support to move out of our own hell or darkness into the space that supports growth. Extended message: the stars cannot shine without darkness. You might have experienced a low state of being, trauma or depression, but this is a new beginning. Become aware of growth. There is always room for improvement. There's also a sense of presentation now. You might be receiving documentation or certification to acknowledge your growth and experience. It's important to cherish this time and to realize that without the challenges or obstacles you have faced, you wouldn't be as strong, powerful, or focused as you are today. You are ascending personally and spiritually at this time, and the universe is here to support it. This really reminds me of this and this, right? Really same energy. Okay, and this, oh my gosh, the timer has run away from us. Digital Kul, Dharma unfolding. Yeah, stepping into our purpose, exactly. Shedding the old karma, shining our light. This guy, we are stepping into our path of, ascending, we are ascending, and then Dharma is unfolding. Remember that you are on a path. Take one step at a time to happiness. Dval Kul, known as the Tibetan Buddhist master, he is said to have had many incarnations, including as a devotee of Buddha himself and as one of the 3 wise men who honored the baby Jesus. Though his earthly experiences, he has learned the importance of spiritual practice and discipline and knows that the path we are on unfolds over time. He is now helping lightworkers follow their dharma, which is a Sanskrit word meaning right way of living. Extended message when, what is it? Dwahal Kul appears in a reading. He reminds you that your path is unfolding as it should. Take one step at a time and remember that your only spiritual function is to be happy. You are a powerful person with many lessons under your belt and a real capacity to share your wisdom with the world. Take the time to go over what you have learned recently. Recognize the strength it has brought you and acknowledge where you have been courageous. The Dual Kul is now working with your angel guides to help your journey unfold like a beautiful lotus flower, one petal at a time. So everything is perfect. Everything is divinely orchestrated. Thank you. Okay, and we won't be able to use the Alana Fairchild deck because it takes so long to read. Even though it wants to be used, but I'm already like 1 hour, 40 minutes. Okay, let's see if I can get one quick message and then we won't use the Psychic Tarot. Okay, let's see. It really wants to be used, this deck. There is always a strong message that comes. Okay, there is a card straight away. Let's see. Padma Sundari, number 17, 8. Out of darkness, the light is born. Oh my gosh, I'm getting goosebumps. Here we go. Out of darkness, the light is born. Exactly, right? This guy. This is crazy. All the cards are confirming that we are experiencing everything that we are experiencing exactly as we need to be experiencing it in order for the light to come online stronger than ever. Okay, let's see. The longest interpretations in the world. Padma Sundari. The light is powerful enough to survive exposure to the darker side of humanity and remain pure, empowered, and effective. Trust in your spiritual purpose as a light in this world. Trust particularly in your ability to bring purity, order, great, and light to to disorder, chaos, and destruction. The divine is ever by your side and ever within your heart, assisting you with his higher purpose in all ways. All issues can be healed through the unlimited resource and creative resourcefulness of the divine. You are destined to be part of a creative solution for any issue that you have in your life and that exists in the world and touches your heart. The issue only exists so the divine genius can resolve it. Struggles are sometimes the best ways for us to learn something we need to understand for our life journey. Trust that when you ask for help, even apparently impossible situations can be turned around. With willing human engagement and divine grace, there is more than enough light, healing, creative innovation, wisdom, and energy available to keep Mother Earth and all her creatures, including humanity, thriving. Never give up your hope and trust in what is possible, nor your willingness to act upon that hope and trust. Spiritual guidance, the Divine Mother, in the form of Padma Sundari, is Lakshmi, the goddess of wealth, beauty, love, and spiritual enlightenment, represented as a shining lotus. Here, the lotus in the middle, in her heart. And ancient symbols for spiritual enlightenment, the lotus represents pure, open, the muddy waters from which it has grown. Lakshmi, divine lotus flowers, remind us that the spiritual light needs material form through which it can manifest itself in the world, as if we were divine electricity needing the lamp of the soul through which to give the gift of illumination. Without the lamp, the electricity cannot manifest its power, and Without electricity, the lamp cannot fulfill its true purpose. When the oracle of Padma Sundari appears, her message is that you are able to do a lot of good in this world. The Divine Mother will assist you with your purpose so that you succeed, but you must take action. Allow the light of spirit into your soul so that you never again feel that you are doing anything on your own. Remind yourself regularly that you have a divine sponsor, guide, coach, partner, and a friend with you always. Well, you see how many came out. How many came out, you know? All this Saint Germain, Sarapis Bain, this Duval Kul, Sanat Kumara, everybody's supporting us. Okay, where did we start? That friend has unlimited resources and the most powerful will of all. Notice how your confidence to take action increases when you build that belief system within you, how much more secure, courageous, and willing you become. Part of your spiritual path requires that you walk your talk and live in a way that shows optimism and practicality. When something is not working, we don't need to hide from it in shame. We face it because we have spiritual self-esteem and self-confidence. When we choose courage, we can confront what isn't working, and we are able to search for answers. Rather than becoming overwhelmed or afraid of any darkness, remember that the Holy Mother is with you and within you. With your active participation, she will bring you everything that you need to confront and tackle any issue, no matter how intimidated it might seem, one step at a time. Along with the power of your divine connection, you have the intelligence and ability to find information, to educate yourself, to try out new behaviors so as to become an active part of the solution for any matter that moves you deeply. Taking these steps will boost your self-esteem and your energy levels, helping you to feel good about yourself and your presence in the world. It's not about being perfect, it's just about taking the next step for you. Trust in divine timing, realizing that there is far-reaching good that can happen through you as you continue to be actively engaged with life and your inner divine relationship. Believe in what we can and will accomplish together through our passionate love affair with Great Spirit and our adoring devotion to the Earth Mother and her children. Okay, 1 hour, 20 minutes. I'm gonna leave it at that. I hope that this shines some light onto what we all been experiencing. And yeah, I hope the messages serve you. Thank you everyone for listening. Thank you, the Spirit, for bringing these messages through. And I wish you all a wonderful rest of the weekend, great week ahead, and I'll speak to you again next week. Much love, everyone, and bye for now.